Power that is seen too clearly becomes a target. The moment you reveal your full strength, you awaken the insecurities, fears, and resistance of others. Wise individuals do not broadcast their capabilities. They bury them beneath layers of normalcy, humility, or misdirection. True power moves in silence, cloaked beneath misperception. The average man announces himself to be feared. The exceptional man requires no announcement, because by the time he is understood, it is already too late to stop him. Invisibility is the first armor of genius. To be underestimated is the most strategic position on the battlefield of ambition. When people cannot measure your depth, they cannot defend against your reach. When they assume they understand you, you've already slipped past their guard. The silent man learns more. He listens, absorbs, and notes the weaknesses that loud men reveal unknowingly. In conversation, in posture, in careless expression, every word they say becomes ammunition, and every over-explanation a map to their core. Meanwhile, the quiet observer reveals nothing, only drawing conclusions, never offering explanations. Genius learns that mystery provokes both curiosity and fear. The unknown is often more powerful than the known because it allows others to project their own fears onto your shadow. And nothing is more terrifying than a shadow without defined shape. If they can't read you, they can't predict you. If they can't predict you, they can't control you. The most potent power is wielded without a trace. When victories arrive, they must appear as natural occurrences, not as calculated assaults. When influence is exercised, it must feel like the choice of the influenced, not the imposition of the influencer. This level of power demands discipline, the discipline to delay glory, the discipline to remain unseen even when you are burning to be acknowledged. The strongest chess masters never boast about the trap they've set. They simply let their opponent walk into it. Those who show their full hand early lose the element of control. Power should never feel like domination from the outside. It should feel like gravity from the inside, unavoidable and natural. To accomplish that, the architect must remain behind the curtain. To move with subtlety is not weakness, it is higher warfare. Those who control the room rarely sit at the head of the table. They sit in silence, allowing others to speak first, to reveal, to weaken themselves with pride and verbosity. And when the time is right, they adjust the tone, shift the decision, bend the will of the room, all without force and often without resistance. Because they spoke less, they observed more. Because they revealed little, they knew much. Power disguised as passivity is the most dangerous kind. Those who do not see it coming have no defense against it. Those who feel it too late become enslaved by it without understanding how it happened. The human mind does not seek truth, it seeks reassurance. Genius understands this flaw and exploits it with surgical precision. Control how people see you, and you begin to control how they see the world. Men believe what is repeated, what is dramatized, what is pleasing to their hopes and fears. Rarely do they believe what is real. This is the gap the powerful operate within. Manipulating perception is not deception in the eyes of power. It is creation. Appearances do not merely support power, they are power. One who masters illusion becomes more effective than one who chases virtue. Appear confident, and you are believed to be capable. Appear moral, and your cruelty becomes invisible. Appear calm, and no one suspects the storm you are summoning behind your eyes. Genius does not argue with reality. It bends the lens through which others see it. It reframes the narrative. It paints failure as strategic withdrawal, delay as calculation, and indifference as strength. This is not dishonesty. This is leadership through artifice. He who holds the narrative holds the leash. People want to follow something they admire, fear, or need. Give them a mask they can worship, and they will ignore the hand beneath it. Give them a symbol that comforts or terrifies them, and they will sacrifice reason in order to believe it. This is the foundation of every empire, every cult, every legend, every tyranny that was never called one. There is power in what you show and what you hide. Reveal just enough to build trust, to feed curiosity, to spark belief, but never so much that you become ordinary. A mind that is always seen becomes too familiar, and familiarity breeds contempt. If they see all of you, they will begin to dismantle your myth. But if they only see what you choose, they can never be sure what's real, and that doubt makes them cautious. In doubt, you find obedience. In ambiguity, you plant fear, and in fear, you hold control. It is not the sword that rules men, but the stories whispered about who holds it. The wise manipulate perception not just to protect themselves, but to advance. They create enemies when they need unity. They manufacture crises when they require control. They raise heroes when they need distraction. To outsmart the masses, you must know how they think, what they want, and how they lie to themselves. Then you become the lie they are most desperate to believe, not because they are fools, but because they are human. They want someone to blame, someone to worship, someone to follow. Provide all three, and you will never lack power. The truth is a blade too sharp for most men to carry, but perception, carefully shaped, becomes the scabbard that hides it in plain sight. And those who master that illusion will always have the upper hand, even when their hands appear empty. The strong do not challenge the throne directly. They make the throne lean on them so heavily it cannot stand without their support. Genius understands that it is not the crown that holds the power, but the hand that holds the king. Outshining your superior is a fatal mistake, not because it reveals your talent, but because it threatens their illusion of importance. The wise cloak their brilliance beneath service, appearing loyal, humble, even submissive, while slowly becoming indispensable. Appear harmless, become essential. Feed their ego, earn their trust, learn their weaknesses, and make them need you more than they distrust you. Those who climb quickly by showcasing superiority rarely reach the top. They are seen, envied, and sabotaged, but those who climb by becoming necessary ascend in silence, bypassing envy because they wear the mask of humility. They whisper advice that becomes command. They offer solutions that breed dependency. And in time, the superior cannot move without consulting them, cannot act without their input, and cannot lead without their shadow. In this dependency lies control. When someone depends on you for their success, their survival, or their influence, you have already replaced them without them, knowing genius never seeks the spotlight until the stage is fully theirs. They understand that praise given too early attracts rivals and resistance. So instead, they orchestrate from behind, directing decisions while appearing to simply assist. They create scenarios where the leader believes every move is their own, unaware they are simply the mouthpiece of a more careful mind. This strategy requires patience, subtlety, and restraint. It is not driven by ego, but by cold ambition. The need to be seen is the downfall of many clever men. The need to be followed without being feared is the wisdom of those who outlast them in every hierarchy. The true power lies in influence, not position. Titles mean nothing if decisions are shaped by someone else. The intelligent do not covet the title until the power is already theirs in practice. Then, when the superior falls by failure, scandal, or miscalculation, the transition is seamless, accepted, even welcomed. The one who was always there, the one who never overstepped, now becomes the obvious replacement, not because they seized power, but because they never needed to. It had long ago become theirs. The art of dependency is more lethal than confrontation. You don't defeat a leader by challenging their authority. You defeat them by becoming the source of it. You feed their pride, solve their problems, protect their flaws, and slowly remove their ability to function without you. They will praise your loyalty while unknowingly giving you control, and when the time comes, they will defend you more fiercely than you could defend yourself. Because in their eyes, removing you would be removing the very foundation of their reign, and that is when you own the kingdom without ever storming the gates. Emotion is the most predictable weakness in human behavior, and genius minds weaponize it without mercy. People believe they act with reason, but in truth they act with impulse dressed as logic. They love who flatters them, fear who confronts them, follow who soothes them, and destroy who reminds them of their own inadequacy. To manipulate power, one must not only understand these reactions, but learn to provoke them with precision. The moment emotion enters the equation, judgment becomes cloudy, and it is in that cloud where control is easiest to seize. Chaos is not a threat to the calculated, it is an invitation. The wise do not seek perfect conditions, they create movement in moments of collapse. When others panic, when fear grips the herd, when the loudest voices scream for safety or revenge, that is when the master strategist strikes. Because in fear, people surrender liberty. In anger, they reveal secrets. In grief, they make alliances they would have once feared. The intelligent do not mourn the instability. They welcome it as the smoke that hides their advance. War, death, scandal, crisis, these are not setbacks for the ruthless. They are windows. Temporary chaos offers permanent gains to those bold enough to move. While others are still frozen, those who rule understand that emotion is not something to be tamed in others, but something to be triggered. Make a man feel insulted, and he will overreach. Make a woman feel ignored, and she will chase attention. Stir jealousy, and you will watch alliances crumble. The game is not to force people to your side, but to twist their own instincts until they walk into your trap willingly. When their feelings become louder than their thoughts, the outcome becomes predictable. That predictability is where control is born. In every environment, be it court, battlefield, or boardroom, there is always a moment of emotional lapse when pride, fear, lust, or hatred takes control of the rational mind. The strategist watches for these openings like a hawk watches for the twitch of prey. One mistake made in anger can destroy years of positioning, and one move made in cold blood, while others burn with emotion, can flip an entire empire. The genius understands how to maintain stillness internally while stirring the waters externally. In their silence, they draw attention. In their calm, they provoke suspicion. And in their precision, they assert dominance. The weak believe that being emotional is being human. The powerful believe that mastering emotion is becoming untouchable. This mastery does not mean emotion is absent, only that it is never in charge. The fire still burns inside, but it is used to forge, not destroy. The intelligent man strikes only when the outcome is already certain, when his enemy has already made the fatal move in panic, when the field is tilted and no resistance remains. By then, it is not a battle. It is an execution of a plan prepared long before the first sign of conflict ever appeared. The mind that seeks power must learn to love stillness as much as it craved victory. The fool acts quickly, driven by the hunger to be seen, to dominate, to feel alive in the moment. But genius is not built in impulse. It is constructed brick by brick in quiet hours, away from eyes, where patience sharpens the edge more than fury ever could. Power is not about how fast you can strike, but how long you can wait. The calculated strike, delayed until all conditions are in your favor, does more damage than 1,000 rushed attempts. It's not a matter of who wants power most, it's about who can delay gratification the longest without losing direction in the world of influence. Most give themselves away too soon. They speak when silence would have multiplied their strength. They act when watching would have exposed their enemy's weakness. The powerful do not move unless the outcome is already inevitable. They do not speak unless their words will echo beyond the room. Discipline is the spine of dominance. Plans that last are not scribbled in chaos. They are carved in silence, tested in thought, and hidden until execution. Every move must be rehearsed in the mind 100 times before it is made in the world. Only then does it become unavoidable, untraceable, and irreversible. Patience is not weakness. It is control. It is restraint at the highest level. While others seek attention and rush toward applause, the strategist watches. While the mob panics at the first sign of disorder, the thinker waits for the dust to reveal who is left standing. Every empire that rises too quickly collapses under its own weight, but the ones that emerge slowly, in calculated steps, in cold decisions, last longer because they were not built on excitement. They were built on endurance. Genius understands that no opportunity is worth the risk of being unprepared. When the opening appears, it must be seized with ruthless clarity. No hesitation, no adjustment, no doubt. That kind of precision only comes from long, quiet planning. You do not chase the moment, you engineer the moment. You create conditions where all variables favor you, and then you execute without emotion. That's where domination begins, not when you act first, but when you act last and end the game in one move. Ruthlessness is not brutality. It is the removal of hesitation. It is the willingness to make decisions others avoid, to act while others fear the consequences, to walk forward when the path is built from broken bones. And betrayal, this mind, it is not born. It is earned through repetition, isolation, mental warfare, and the slow grinding away of weakness. You train your instincts to stay quiet when provoked, to watch when challenged, to build when threatened. You stop reacting to every conflict and instead force others to react to your silence. And when the time comes, when they are blind from their own speed and noise, you move with force they never saw coming. Power does not belong to the loudest, the boldest, or even the most intelligent. It belongs to the most disciplined. Those who wield real influence do not beg for control. They engineer it in silence, they orchestrate it through perception, and they enforce it through necessity. The ones who rise are not driven by emotion, but guided by strategy. They wait when others rush. They strike when others hesitate. They build slowly, patiently, while the world demands speed. They understand that visibility invites envy, that truth is irrelevant without belief, and that control is most effective when it feels like freedom. These laws are not written for the moral or the merciful. They are tools for those who refuse to live at the mercy of chance. Genius does not play the game to compete. Genius rewrites the rules, manipulates the players, and walks away with the board.